Welcome to the Cannes Lions 2015. I'm delighted to say on an incredible setting. I'm joined by Doug Ray, the Global President of Carat. It's not a bad little place to stop
It's
and
not a
have
bad
chat. And you're here for a few days, networking mostly. I mean, what's the plan for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a couple opportunities throughout the year to actually where you've got all of the executives and all of the media owners and all the technology companies in one place.
Exactly.
So you can only imagine the number of meetings and what my calendar must look like. But yeah, it's going to be pretty packed couple of days.
No, and this is a nice moment of calm and quiet in amongst it all,
That's
hopefully.
Right. That's right.
What are you hearing this year in terms of Cannes? You know, what are you hearing are the sort of big trends, the big topics that people are talking about?
I think it seems to be consistent with what we've been hearing for the last 6 to 12 months. Continued focus on data, continued focus on understanding technology. I mean, at the heart of it, this is a creativity festival. It's about creative, but I think it's evolved certainly, and now we're seeing a lot more deals being done. We're seeing a lot more focus on ad tech. We're seeing a lot more focus on top-to-top meetings with media owners as well. So I think that in a way, it's very similar to what CES has turned into as well.
Yeah, and actually you mentioned the technologies, but we can't sort of move for various technology companies here, and it seems to be changing the atmosphere perhaps. And what impact do you think that's having on it?
It's interesting because I sit on your site sometimes when I'm interviewing folks, and one of the questions that I ask, particularly publishers and media owners and editors in particular, is data helping or is it disrupting the creative process? And I think you get a lot of conversations on either side on that. But I think the consensus is that data and technology is actually enhancing the creative process. It's not going to take over the creative process, and I think people inherently are creative, and we need to make sure that we keep focused on the fact that the technology is an enabler. It's not a replacement for what we do.
Yeah. I suppose we're coming up to the halfway point of the year, chance to maybe take stock, see how the calendar year is going. I mean, what have been some of the highlights for you so far for Carat?
I think that we've had a tremendous year. First quarter actually was a little slow from a new business standpoint, but certainly second quarter kicked off with a bang. So I think they're calling it Pitch Palooza. But there's certainly a lot going on now, and for us in particular, we've been able to continue the momentum that we have had over the last couple of years. I think I've personally been really focused on talent, and driving the culture forward. We've had a couple initiatives that we launched in the first half of the year, really about ensuring that we stay very focused on what we mean by redefining media as an agency, and that we are consistently reinventing ourselves and challenging legacy models, challenging the status quo.
Yeah, and you mentioned all these Pitch Palooza, all these various media reviews that are happening at the moment, which is, it's unprecedented, I think. I mean, why do you think that's happening? What do you think is driving clients to do this, and how do you think that's going to change client-agency relationships?
Well, we just talked about data and technology and so on, and I think when you look at a number of these reviews and how long they've been with their incumbent agencies, they were probably making decisions about the agency well before we were dealing with programmatic, we were dealing with the data platforms that we are looking at now, before we were really looking at social media and some of those elements. So I think so much has evolved in terms of consumer behaviors and how they're navigating their relationship with brands, but fundamentally so much has changed in terms of the tools and capabilities that agencies need to have as well. So I think it's just a matter of looking at the agencies and making sure that they do have the agencies that are fit for purpose and that are future proof.
Yeah, and obviously the transparency debate is something that's ongoing, and do you think this is perhaps a chance for the industry to actually really clear out some of those bad vibes, those negative kind of feelings in some respects, and actually just get back on track?
I've been asked that question as whether or not the transparency discussion has been a motivator for these reviews, and I don't think that it really is a motivator. I think it really is focused much more on the evolution of what's going on. I do think that transparency is going to be an ongoing discussion, and that's certainly something that agencies are going to have to come to terms with in terms of how do they address that. For us, it's very clear in terms of how we handle transparency. I think that and the way that we deal with it with clients as well. So we're very clear about that within our contracts with clients, and I think our clients are comfortable with that certainly. But it will be an ongoing discussion, and programmatic is certainly an area that didn't exist several years ago. And I think even when you look at the trading desks at agencies, sort of the point of view or perhaps the model of those trading desks even a year ago has moved on and evolved. And I think what clients really want is more flexible models to be able to serve their needs.
And you mentioned talent just then. Is that talent retention, talent attraction? Is that a key strategy for you over the rest of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you can't come to a festival like this and not have the talent discussion come up. But because of our growth as well, we're looking for more talent. So I think retention of talent is really important, and we've got tremendous programs in place. Route 500 is one of our top performing initiatives, where we actually identify the top 5% of the talent within the organization, and there's some really great programs for those individuals. So that's certainly great from a retention standpoint, but also recruitment. And I think we're looking well beyond the sort of traditional industry for talent as well. I'm looking at all sorts of different kinds of individuals with different backgrounds, because I think that this industry is evolving so much. We are redefining the way that the kind of talent that's in a media agency as well. Yeah,
and you think that the pace of that change is going to increase over the next year?
Absolutely. I mean, needing data analysts, needing mathematicians, needing creative people as well. I mean, these are all areas that historically media planning and buying agencies, if you think about it coming up, we're probably much more focused on the acquisition or the buying and planning of media, and now there's far more capabilities that are required within a media agency.
Yeah, and I sincerely hope that in a year's time we will be back here, sat here looking out over this amazing scene.
Absolutely.
What do you think we perhaps will be talking about in a year's time in terms of perhaps reflecting on what's passed over the previous 12 months?
Yeah, I think that we'll be talking about a seismic transition that's happened. Video in particular is one thing that we are absolutely focused on. The legacy model is broken. The way that we think about trading traditional linear television is going to evolve, and I think we're going to see a tipping point in the second half of this year. I think there's going to be much more focus from major advertisers on changing the model, and I think that we will be as agencies supporting that and hopefully leading that as well.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival. Hopefully bump into you in a bar later.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a glass of rosé.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.